Hey, good morning, crime fighters and true crime junkies. This is Derek Judd, the Cowboy Criminologist. Today I'm coming at you with kind of a special video. Uh, Last night we lost somebody who I think is a great American. Toby Keith passed away at the age of 62 from complications of stomach cancer. Things looked like they were looking up for him for a little bit, and unfortunately, he was called home last night. Toby Keith has had a huge impact on me in the early '90s. I remember the first song of his that I heard on the radio was "Should Have Been a Cowboy," and of course that was in the early '90s where everything was about being a cowboy. Everything blew up. Toby Keith's music just always had such a huge impact on me, and I loved his voice. I loved his arrangements. His songwriting was, especially the stuff he did with Scott Cannon, was absolutely amazing. Fast forward, Toby Keith took a lot of flack, especially from a group that is just kind of hanging on the fringes right now. But Toby Keith did a song called "The Angry American." The Angry American was about it was, of course, a response to the September 11th attacks in 2001. But Toby Keith was incredibly unapologetic about writing that song. And that song was a huge, huge inspiration. It became a rallying cry. And I remember joining the Marines in 2002 on the delayed enlistment program. And the Marines I was with, they were still singing that song. It still had such a huge impact on them. It really kind of reminded us of why we decided to serve. And then, of course, Toby Keith was very active with the USO and put on a lot of shows in a lot of different places for the armed services. He had a soft spot for the United States military. I know a lot of people in the United States military had a soft spot for him. Toby Keith was awesome. And I remember hearing people talk about, well, if he's so pro-America, why didn't he join the military instead of just singing about it? And I remember telling a couple of people, when was the last time you dropped off a care package to be taken to a service member overseas? When was the last time you donated blood to go to the war effort? When was the last time you paused a multi-million-dollar tour so that you can go and perform a show for people who are serving a higher calling than themselves? Shut that down pretty quick. So today, Mr. Keith, I know we didn't know each other, but I want you to know I prayed for your family. I prayed for you. Your music is always going to be very special to me. And as soon as I'm done making this video, I'm going to put on some of my favorite Toby Keith songs, and I'm going to remember what they mean to me. Y'all please keep Toby Keith's family, his wife and children in your thoughts and prayers. It's hard to lose somebody, especially when you feel like they're on the rebound and are moving towards getting better. But Mr. Keith, whether you realize it or not, you touched so many lives with your music, and I just want to thank you. Now there's kind of a bittersweet this is kind of a bittersweet video, because while last night, February 5th, we lost Toby Keith, today, February 6th, the greatest president of our generation was born. And that president, of course, is Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan, you know what? People can say whatever they want about him. You'll never convince me that he was anything other than the greatest president since probably Teddy Roosevelt. And so today, while you're thinking about one great American that we lost, think about what they stood for, and think about the values that they held, and their belief in why America truly is the greatest country on earth. And that happens to be a sentiment that I share with them. And, while I have no real connection to Toby Keith or Ronald Reagan, just their view of how they see America and how they were able to connect with the average day working class American, I think is something that should be celebrated. And so, Mr. President, happy birthday. And Toby, you're going to be missed.